Welcome to episode 31 of Oscar Sunday. I'm Austin Johnson,
I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
and this is a Best Animated Feature Film showdown based around the three films nominated at the 74th Academy Awards: Monsters, Inc., Jimmy Neutron, and the winner, Shrek. Of course, these films are from 2001, all classics in my eyes. The Academy Award for Best Animated Feature is given each year for animated films. An animated feature is defined by the Academy as a film with a running time of more than 40 minutes, in which characters' performances are created by using a frame by frame technique, a significant number of major characters are animated, and animation figures in no less than 75% of the running time. The Academy Award for Best Animated Feature was first awarded in 2002 for the films made in 2001. That's why we're talking about Shrek. It's the first one to ever win this bad boy. And goddamn, it's a classic. I had so much fun rewatching it last night.
It is maybe the funniest animated movie of the decade. It's such a classic, and it holds up so well. The animation is very good. The vocal performances are fantastic. The story is fucking beautiful. It's great. It's wonderful, and it's kind of amazing considering this movie was made entirely just to spite Disney, but it works. It's amazing. It started a huge billion-dollar franchise for DreamWorks.
Yeah, truly. And definitely the best thing that they've done, right? DreamWorks is their baby, and like you said, it's the franchise that they have. And Shrek is, going against Disney's Pixar movie Monsters Inc., and then going against Nickelodeon's Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius. And you have, this kind of badass, like rebellion type movie that has these wild adult jokes throughout in Shrek. And my God, I love it so much. I've seen it so many times, had it on DVD for, almost 20 years now. It's pretty crazy, but I want to do something fun like right away here and just go through, because it's not that long, this category. I want to just spotlight all of the winners here and just go through them. We've seen almost all of them, I'm sure. So Shrek, of course, we're going to talk about that one greatly, give it some awards later on. But after that would be Spirited Away.
Oh,
have you seen that one?
I have, yes.
Yes, that's Studio Ghibli. That's the only non-English speaking animated film to win this award, and it actually came out in 2001, but didn't compete until a year later because it didn't have a United States release until later on. So shit happens a lot with foreign films. Spirited Away is probably the most mature film of all of the winners of the history of this category. Spirited Away is something I highly recommend to just movie fans in general. You don't have to really be like someone who's big into cartoons or anything. It's just Studio Ghibli is known for making these stories that are just have a lot of depth to them and kind of make make your brain kind of move a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I think Spirited Away is a great gateway film for Studio Ghibli. I mean, I know a lot of people if you're not hardcore into that kind of filmmaking, it is a little jarring. I know, I was one who I barely stepped into that. I've seen Spirited Away and Howl's Moving Castle, and those are both off recommendations from a friend. And Spirited Away was my favorite of the two because of how grown up it is, how cool of a coming of age story it is. And I think a lot of people can take something from that, which is, pretty cool.
For sure. All I'll say for if someone's, hasn't seen this one is it's a 10-year-old girl, I believe 10 or 11, and her parents get turned into pigs. So yeah, leave it at that. And that beat Ice Age, Lilo and Stitch, Spirit, and Treasure Planet. There were 5 that year. Ice Age is pretty damn funny. Lilo and Stitch is very dear to my heart. And Spirit, not really for me. And Treasure Planet's all right, but I just Spirited Away is far superior in my opinion to these.
Yeah, I agree. I haven't seen Spirit or Treasure Planet, but Ice Age is great, and Lilo and Stitch is pretty awesome too.
Yeah, I mean, I love Lilo and Stitch, but I'm not really gonna try and compare it to Spirited Away. Spirited Away is one of the animated movies that I think could have gotten into the Best Picture talk. It's one of Studio Ghibli's better better films. And of course, if this category had been a thing, throughout the 80s and 90s, Studio Ghibli might have scooped up even more, Princess Mononoke and Kiki's Delivery Service, My Neighbor Totoro, all these different ones, I mean, it's just incredible stuff what they've done over there. I really wish that they had more love in this category.
I can't believe it took so long to establish a best animated film category at the Oscars. I mean, since the 30s, animated films have been winning Oscars for, song and score and sound design. And I don't know why they waited so long for this. The 90s alone should have woken them up. Maybe that's why. Maybe the Disney Renaissance was so strong it finally convinced the Oscars to add this.
Yeah, I think it is one of those battles, and it's the Oscars still have these weird battles. There's no stunt category, which is just a goddamn shame, right? It took them a while to get a best foreign film category, and the animated one it's just kind of jarring to see. Wait, this is not even 20 years old yet. What? It's wild. So that's why we're gonna keep going through them, because it's not that long.
I think as of now, it is 20 years old.
Well, yeah, after next, because this awards was in 2002, this award show, the 74th Academy Awards. So it'd be, next year, yeah. But yes, Shrek almost came out 20 years ago. Pretty fucking insane. And we saw that in theaters, didn't we? Of course. 2003 would be Finding Nemo, got the win over Brother Bear and the Triplets of Belleville.
Oh.
Have not seen the Triplets of Belleville, actually. I wish. I want to see it so bad. And then Brother Bear, I haven't seen that one in ages.
I actually have seen the Triplets of Belleville. I watched that as a kid because my mom rented it thinking it was a kid's movie, and it is not a kid's
I've heard it's not, yeah.
It's a weird movie about a bicyclist and these three ladies. I watched it when I was like 8. I barely remember it, but I have seen it.
Yeah, no, I would love to check that out. And Finding Nemo is just
no one's
a dominant Pixar movie that I would love to do on this show one day. It's great. Marlon's the man. We have The Incredibles in 2004. After that, another Pixar film beating Shrek 2 and Shark Tale. Yeah,
Shark Tale.
The Incredibles. Yeah, come on.
What a joke. Shark Tale. That's such a terrible movie.
Shark Tale is also DreamWorks, right? Yeah. It is. Yeah.
The ongoing battle between DreamWorks and Disney to rip off each other.
Yeah.
Like Pixar has dominated this category constantly. Most of their films are best animated feature film winners.
Yeah.
And they've only been beaten a handful of times. But Shrek 2 could have done it. I think Shrek 2 is a very strong sequel.
It is. It's underrated at this point. Later on, Shrek is so damn good and gets all the love, but I think Shrek 2 has so much to offer and adds all these characters. It's an awesome film. And we can talk a little bit more about it later on if you want. It was, it's obviously up for nomination here.
But The Incredibles, that was a game changer. That movie was so creative and so exciting. And I still love that movie. It's such a badass superhero flick.
Yeah, I mean, Brad Bird, he's, this is the mind behind The Iron Giant, The Incredibles, and Ratatouille. Come on. Yeah, just incredible stuff from Philip Bradley Bird. You got to love the guy. The Incredibles is definitely a great one to go back to back with Finding Nemo. After that, we have a really interesting group. This would be the films of 2005. The Corpse Bride, Howl's Moving Castle, another Studio G movie, and then the winner, Wallace and Gromit. Let's go. What a strange group there.
That's nice for Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, to score an Oscar. It's nice. Wallace and Gromit's the best.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it was in partnership with DreamWorks and British studio Aardman Animations. So that's cool to see, right? Just this kind of underdog type movie, but in an underdog kind of year. You have a Studio Ghibli movie and then Tim Burton,
Yeah.
Really, really cool. I kind of like that rebellious kind of year. After that, here we go. We're definitely going to have something to say here because I'm a little frustrated about this one, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. I know
we have Cars, take it or leave it. We have Monster House, classic, and then we have the winner, Happy Feet. get Happy Feet out of here. It's fine. But Monster House is amazing and a total game changer for, if you look at the line of these animated movies, it stands alone in what it's trying to do. And I love Monster House, man. It's definitely something that I watch every Halloween. So should have got the win there.
Monster House is a creative masterpiece. And animated films are so expressive and creative. I think that's why I love this category so much, because it features so many different kinds of films.
Yes.
And for Monster House to get a nomination there is just such a win, I think, for the horror community and just a win for, Halloween movies. I love that. And I really wish it had taken home the gold, because Cars is one of Pixar's weakest films. It has grown on me in recent years. It's cute. It's fun. It's a good movie, but compared to like The Incredibles, Ratatouille, like it's nowhere near that caliber.
No, not even close. Honestly, there's definitely tiers to Pixar, definitely, and that's a whole different conversation. After that, we go to 2007. We have Surf's Up, Persepolis, and the winner, Ratatouille. I have not seen Persepolis. I haven't seen Surf's Up in 12 years. So, since it came out, 13 years. And then Ratatouille, I actually watched maybe a week ago. Just exquisite. Moves like fucking butter. I love Ratatouille. I think it's definitely been labeled at this point as one of the, kind of dark horse Pixar films. It's like, wait a minute. We always talk about Toy Story and A Bug's Life and Monsters Inc. and Inside Out. But what about Ratatouille, man? Ratatouille is actually really good. And I think it actually has a say in breaking into one of those top tiers of the Pixar films. It's that good.
It's great. It's a film about, finding what you love and embracing it. I think the biggest thing I wonder about for the mid 2000s, what was with this ongoing obsession with penguins? Like, where did this come from? Because you had Happy Feet and Surf's Up. Like, it was just penguin mania for 2 years.
Club Penguin. There's that damn computer game that everybody was playing called Club Penguin. You never heard of that?
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, maybe if there's any listeners out there, shout out to Club Penguin. I didn't play it myself, but I had people that I knew, friends at school and stuff, that played it. And it was right around this time. It was when I was in, 4th, 5th grade. Penguins everywhere, man. What's going on? Jesus. Makes Batman Returns a lot scarier,
I always thought it came out of that documentary, March of the Penguins, but then I thought, there's no way all these kids are going to see March of the Penguins. So, where is it? So it was this video game. Okay. That answers a question I've had for years.
It's just a combination of all these things at once happening. Just penguins. It's bizarre. Moving on, we have a robot, a dog, and a panda. That'd be Kung Fu Panda, Bolt, and the winner, Wall-E. This is an interesting group. Bolt is something I haven't seen all the way through in quite some time. Kung Fu Panda I've seen recently, and I think it's okay. It's not. I'm not crazy into it. I love Jack Black, but I wasn't crazy about it. But Wall-E, man, Wall-E is something else.
See, I'm not that hot on Wall-E. I don't.
What? Why is it? You think it's in one of the lower tiers for you?
I think I think it's beautiful. I don't really. I think it's kind of boring.
It is a bit dull compared to some of the other stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Kung Fu Panda is cute. It's nice, but I wouldn't give it an Oscar. And Bolt, I've never had really any interest in. There's the 2000s Disney films. I've always thought those are pretty weak. I don't know.
Most of them, yeah.
Wall-E, I guess, just by default, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it goes to that. I mean, there's always an interesting conversation to be had if you really go back and look at every animated movie that came out. I know Ponyo came out in 2008, Studio G, and from what I know, I would actually I would actually choose that to win out of those four. But the next year has 5 films. 2009. This is an interesting year. Again, The Secret of Kells, The Princess and the Frog, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Coraline, and the winner, Up. Pete Docter. At this point, I would like to bring up Soul for just a little bit. Pete Docter, obviously involved in that one, directed him and Kemp Powers directed it together. What'd you think of Soul?
I liked it. I watched it about 2 hours ago, and I thought it was very creative. I thought it was the most beautifully animated film Pixar's ever done. I mean, it looks like a live action movie, which is unreal. And I thought it was a very cool way for kids to kind of understand life and death. And I wish it all the success in the world. I'm glad I got to see it.
Yeah, man. It was definitely a breathtaking movie visually, and on par with, visually on par with, Finding Nemo and Inside Out, and the ones that just kind of pop like that with all these different amazing colors, and just brought New York right into your face, right into your home. That was really cool. Thanks Disney Plus for putting this one out right away. That was cool. Pete Docter being involved in that one, when he gets involved, it's a big deal. This is the creative director at Pixar, and the only movies that he's directed that he stepped in and been like, hey, I'm gonna do this is Monsters Inc., Up, Inside Out, and Soul.
Jesus Christ, what a run.
He said, these are the ones that I'm gonna, hey now, these are the ones I'm gonna come in and really be a part of here. I love the guy's work, what he's contributed to Pixar, and Up is fantastic. Soul is awesome. Monsters Inc. is awesome. Inside Out is awesome. So this is really cool. But Secret of Kells is something I haven't seen before. Have you seen that one?
No.
The Princess and the Frog.
I still have not seen that. I've been meaning to check that out for years. I saw part of it when I was donating blood. So that's all I got. I saw Dr. Facilier's first song. So I don't
know. Yeah. It's all right. I don't know. It's kind of, there's a whole conversation I think to be had around that movie, and this is not technically the episode for that. This is based around Shrek. So that could be a whole nother conversation, because Disney, like you said, during the 2000s, I think just missed a few times, and I think that's one of them. Fantastic Mr. Fox, Wes Anderson. Just
nope.
Oh, damn.
I haven't seen that either. I've only
I'm sorry. I thought you were saying you didn't like it. Okay,
I've only seen 2 Wes Anderson movies, and it's The Grand Budapest Hotel and The Life Aquatic. That's all I've seen.
Those are 2 great ones to see. Wow. Yeah. 2 great. Yeah. Well, I own them all, man. I'll just hand them over to you whenever French Dispatch decides to drop, in 2021. By the way, Happy New Year. This is the first episode.
Yeah. Happy New Year, everybody.
First episode of 2021. Yeah. I'm really hoping that when Dispatch comes out, we can, have a Wes Anderson conversation and do that. Hopefully that happens. I enjoy Fantastic Mr. Fox. I think Isle of Dogs I like a little bit better. Those are the 2 that he's done in the animated, category. But Wes Anderson to me has no weak link. I'm kind of a sucker for his filmography, so I'm not really the guy to ask. You know what I mean? Because I'm biased. I think it's fantastic. Coraline, Henry Selick. We just talked about this not that long ago over on Filmgazm. We did Nightmare Before Christmas, and we went down that road a bit and talked some Coraline. I do enjoy this one, but with all that said, I think Up just definitely beats these.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't seen these films, but I've seen Up many times, and I can tell you it's a masterpiece. No movie has ever made me cry that fast.
Yeah, and I'm here for the conversations about how it kind of once it hits that, it doesn't get much. It kind of levels out the film maybe a little bit. I disagree, but I'm willing to hear that conversation, willing to hear that argument. I've read some reviews that say that Up kind of gets boring. Hey, I disagree wholeheartedly. I think the 2 main characters are so strong and so funny, and I think it's visually just stunning to look at. And I vividly remember seeing it in theaters. Being 14 years old, I remember seeing it in theaters, and I'll hold that dearly. And I think it's a very strong movie.
I remember sitting there in the theaters, and then the opening happened and the montage, and then it's just like fucking gut punch to the heart, and then you're just like, wow, this just started. Where do we go from here? Jesus Christ.
Oh
Got a
man.
dry eye in the house.
Yeah, yeah, dude.
It's
Yeah,
fantastic.
it's fantastic. Well, let's get to another movie that made us both cry, I'm sure, in theaters, which is not this one, but the one that won. The Illusionist, How to Train Your Dragon, The Winner, Toy Story 3. Of course, when all of our, favorite characters that have been with us since 1995, the year you and I were born, when they're about to, be gone, we think that they're actually going to go into this fire. Just an incredible moment, on par with stuff that's happening in Infinity War. I'm not even joking. I like stand by that. The emotions I had, when that was happening, and the things that they're playing with, that Pixar's playing with, and they know their audience, how they've been with you, they've been with them for a long time, and they know how to toy with your emotions in a way that just is far too realistic, and sometimes gets uncomfortable, quite frankly, to where Pixar totally, like you said, just kind of dominates these awards, and you get why, because they're trying to raise the bar, and I think that's something that Studio Ghibli did a lot. But as far as the ones that are up here, Pixar is really raising the bar.
Well, Pixar has always used animation and quirky characters and goofy shit to disguise very real emotional insecurities that people have. And like Finding Nemo is, I think, about grief and being a single parent. Toy Story is very much about growing up and the challenges you have to face. It's amazing. It's fantastic. Toy Story 3, I never thought I'd see Woody and Buzz Lightyear accept death. Like, just to stand there and be like, there's no way out of this. Hold my hand, my friend, we're going to die. Like, what the hell, man? It really is like amazing how they're able to do that. Just go right into your heart and punch it. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel similarly about Toy Story the way I do about, like Linklater's Before trilogy. How, wow, you're just using these same characters and just kind of messing with my heart. And, that's awesome when animated movies can do that. So, yeah, of course, Toy Story 3 and Up were both up for Best Picture.
Yeah.
And they're the only two animated films aside from Beauty and the Beast to ever do that. Of course, Beauty and the Beast, we did here on Oscar Sunday for episode 26. And that was a blast because, in 1991, that was really special. That movie comes out and loses to Silence of the Lambs, but it got in, and that was really cool to get that nomination. Really special movie. And then over time, 10 years later, there's a category for it, finally. And I love that. That's really cool. 2011, we have 5 films. We have Puss in Boots, Kung Fu Panda 2, Chico and Rita, A Cat in Paris, and the winner, Rango. So good. I love Rango. This is totally fine with me, even though I haven't seen 2 of them.
I don't think I've seen any of these.
You haven't seen Puss in Boots? I like Puss in Boots, man. That's a funny one.
I have not. I haven't seen Puss in Boots or Rango. Yeah, I'm completely out on this one.
You would love Rango. I know this for sure, deep down in my heart, that Rango is an animated movie definitely for you and I. It's so funny, it's so clever, and pretty breathtaking. Pretty gorgeous film. I'm totally cool with this. Kung Fu Panda 2, I just don't see why it's in there. I don't know why they have 5 in this year, but I can't speak for Chico and Rita and A Cat in Paris. So 2012, we have 5 again. Wreck-It Ralph, The Pirates, In an Adventure with Scientists. Haven't seen that one. Paranorman, Frankenweenie, and the winner, Brave. Back to Pixar.
Again, I haven't seen any of these.
Wow. I mean, Frankenweenie, Paranorman, those are both really cool.
I have seen Frankenweenie. My mistake. I did see that. Was not really that big a fan.
Wreck-It Ralph is all right. I like Brave. Brave is pretty cool. It's none. I'd say if there's 4 tiers of Pixar, I'd say it's like the third. It's not quite in the bottom, but it's not at the top either. Uh, again, I don't know why there's five in that year either. 2013, five again. The Wind Rises, Studio G. Ernest and Celestine, Despicable Me 2, The Croods, and Frozen. So why is Despicable Me, the first one, not nominated in 2010? I don't understand that.
I don't know.
Despicable Me 2.
Those are cute. I like the Despicable Me movies.
Me too. The first one I think is actually really good.
Yeah. I always like stories about bad guys who, learn the error of their ways and become heroes. I think those are cool stories, even when they're goofy like this.
Yeah, I agree, man. This is, I think what we're figuring out here is five is probably too much because you only have so many quality animated films coming out in theaters, right?
Yeah.
If you're counting all of the, straight to video or like straight to DVD DC movies and all that shit, it's a whole different ball game. That's a whole different conversation. But when we're talking about what's nominated here, I just think you can cut them here because this next run we got five in a lot of these. 2013, 2014, 2015, and on. It just keeps. It's 5 and 5 and 5. I just wish they were at 3 every year. Let's see. Have you seen The Croods?
No.
And Frozen, of course, the winner. I
have seen Frozen, and I didn't understand the hype. I thought it was okay. I don't get why it became this like international phenomenon.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And we're going to get to a film that I think does deserve that I think is sort of similar in a few years. But yeah, Frozen wins there, beats The Croods, Despicable Me 2, Ernest and Celestine, The Wind Rises. 2014, we have The Tales of Princess Kaguya, Song of the Sea, How to Train Your Dragon 2, The Box Trolls, and the winner, Big Hero 6. Have you seen Big Hero 6?
Nope.
Yeah, I actually have only seen. I haven't seen Big Hero 6 all the way through. I've seen the Box Trolls and I've seen Song of the Sea. That's it out of here.
I got a blank slate. I haven't seen any of those.
Yeah, this is good. We're learning about some animated shit here. 2015, we have When Marnie Was There, Shaun the Sheep Movie, Boy in the World, Anomalisa, and the winner, Inside Out. Back to Pixar.
There we go. I have seen Inside Out. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it really is wonderful. I saw it on a outdoor screen back in, I don't know, May or June. I can't remember. This 2020 was so long. But Anomalisa, oh boy. That would actually be my vote here. I think Anomalisa is one that pushes things, pretty far. It's stop motion, Charlie Kaufman, very adult kind of movie. So if you combine Wes Anderson and Charlie Kaufman, there you go. And yeah, it's not for everybody, but I certainly loved it. Seeing a stop motion character, walking around a hotel and the just kind of patience that style has is quite amazing. Watching a guy just open up a thing to eat, opening up to-go food to eat, the precision it takes to do all of those things for stop motion is really, really cool. And Anomalisa is full of subtlety. And I actually really remember I saw this in Houston at a theater downtown. I'll never forget. I was by myself and no one else was in the theater, and I had a great time.
That's cool. That's exactly what happened to me when I saw Promising Young Woman a couple days ago.
Yes, which I know you really enjoyed.
I enjoyed it very much. I enjoyed especially having an entire movie theater to myself. That's never happened to me before. It was a great feeling.
Yeah, it's happened to me just a couple times. When I saw The Danish Girl, that happened. I saw that one in Houston as well. Yeah, shit happens. Oh yeah, I think it came out in 2015, so that makes sense. I saw Anomalisa, and that's when I was living in Houston.
I'm not a particularly big Kaufman fan. What I've seen of his has been incredibly hit or miss. He's definitely an acquired taste. I understand why some people love his work, but it's just not for me.
Yeah, I totally get that. You know me, I'm first one to admit that some of the people I'm fans of are just not, they're an acquired taste. I'm the same way with like there's some music that I like that I get. I'm not going to show it to people because it's okay. Not everybody's going to dig it. It's fine. You find your shit and you hold on to it, right? It's fun. 2016, we have The Red Turtle. I don't even know what is this. My Life as a Kurget? I don't know. My Life as a Kurget. Moana, Kubo and the Two Strings, and the winner is Zootopia. This is, I have something to say about 3 of these. What about you?
I have nothing to say. I have not seen any of those films.
All right. So when we brought up Frozen a bit ago, the film I was talking about was Moana. Moana, was huge, came out, bang, was massive, and everybody's singing the songs and whatnot. I think Moana is a very strong movie. I stand by it, and I think it deserves all that stuff. So I'm not quite sure what the deal is with Frozen. I don't know why it became what it is. I'm not sure what it is. It must be the music. It must be a couple of the songs, because I think Moana is just a far superior film overall. But they both are looked at as kind of like, from this decade for Disney, looked at as these two, monster movies. And I just think one's way better than the other.
Well, yeah, I do have to see Moana. That's one that's on my list, and I've seen most of Zootopia out of order because I was working at Draft House when it came out. So that's
Oh man, that Zootopia. I'll get to that in a second. Kubo and the Two Strings, also nominated for visual effects at the Oscars that year, the 89th Academy Awards. Boy, that's a heavy one. That's another one I highly suggest to people who just like movies in general. It was on Netflix. I don't know if it is anymore. I'm not quite sure. I feel like I've seen it on something. Strong ass movie. But Zootopia, another Disney movie, not quite as successful as Moana and Frozen from this past decade, but in my opinion, better than both. Zootopia, I'm glad it won this year. I think Zootopia has a lot to say, and I think Jason Bateman gives one of the better voice acting performances I've seen from this decade of these movies we talk about. It's one of my favorite voice performances. Bateman is born to do this shit, man. Well, he's born to do everything. Clearly, the guy can direct fucking TV shows and produce shit and be in comedies and be in serious movies, be in The Gift, and the guy's unstoppable. And to see him have this character in Zootopia, that is, he's very, very talented and really makes that movie pop. Zootopia, I love it. Idris Elba as well. Yeah, Zootopia is awesome. I watch it all the time. It's one of Willow's favorites, and it's one that I have no problem watching with her.
I'm really surprised that Pixar was shut out with Finding Dory,
especially when there's 5.
Yeah, I thought that one was pretty good. Finding Dory, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny too. Yeah, Idris Elba, another great performance.
Yeah, it's always a kind of a shocker when Pixar doesn't sweep up a nomination. Like both of the Cars sequels, nothing.
Yeah, that is kind of shocking. But this next year, it has something to say. We got a real weird year here. Bear with us. 2017, we're almost done here. We got Loving Vincent, Ferdinand, yay, The Breadwinner, The Boss Baby, and the winner, Coco. Back to Pixar. Oh boy, this is a rough bunch. Loving Vincent's a pretty strong movie, real different. Not something that children are gonna really enjoy. But cool. These other ones are bizarre. Ferdinand, I vividly remember watching some of that. It was just on TV, and I stopped and I was like, "What the hell is this?" And watched some of it, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" The Boss Baby is so bonkers. So bonkers. There's now a TV show on Netflix and everything. I don't know. Coco is a damn near masterpiece. One we haven't really brought up yet because I knew it would come up here. I think it has something to say to be in one of those top tiers. Goddamn, Coco. We talk about soul and soul fucking with death. Coco fucking with death a lot there, and I think Coco is really strong, and it's really cool to see Pixar finally get a lot of diversity in their characters, and to have a movie like Coco and Soul come out in the past few years is special, and I think it's a good way to look up. I think it's a good way to look forward to what they're going to do in the future.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's cool that Pixar is embracing diversity and kind of celebrating a lot of different cultural stories, which is really cool. Looking forward to that very much. Disney.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. Here we go. We got 2018, the 91st Academy Awards. We got 5 again. Ralph Breaks the Internet. I don't know how to say this, so I'm sorry. Mirai is going to be my guess. And then Isle of Dogs, Incredibles 2, and ladies and gentlemen, one of the best animated movies to ever be made, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. This isn't even a contest. Oh, man.
It was so cool to see that win. That was such a creative movie. And as a comics fan, just a dream come true. That was such a badass film. And I loved it. And I really did not like Incredibles 2, so I really didn't want that to win.
Yeah, it's all right.
Forgettable as hell.
Isle of Dogs is awesome and has one of the coolest casts ever. You're gonna really, really dig Isle of Dogs. I know this for sure, because I mean, just right off the bat, off the top of my head, from I haven't seen it in a little while, but Bryan Cranston, Edward Norton, Jeff Goldblum, they're like the main dogs. I mean, come on. You're just listening to those guys kind of bullshit. So it's really, really special. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. This is Oscar Sunday, and I'm going to go to bat for a movie here. I'm going to go to bat for this movie here. 91st Academy Awards is obviously something that's come up here before. It's we talked about Black Panther. We talked about If Beale Street Could Talk not that long ago. We've had some debates about that category, the Best Picture category from that year. Green Book winning. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse deserves a spot over Green Book and over Bohemian Rhapsody. And, I'll stand by that. There's plenty of other movies. If Beale Street Could Talk is one of those too, but Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse may deserve it over some of the other movies. Look at it.
Damn.
It is a total game changer. It's one of the best superhero movies ever too. I feel a certain way about it because when you're watching it, and I know you and I we just had this kind of like, whoa, like your jaw just kind of drops, and it's not like you're crying, but you just feel like tears are oozing out of you because you're like, what is this? Just inject this shit into me, all day. And it's now influenced what Marvel's going to do looking into the future. And I just think I think in 10 years, we're going to look back at it and we're going to be like, fuck, the Oscars should have given it more stuff.
I've never seen that kind of animation style before. That was what jarred me the most about it. It looked and felt like a comic book come to life, which was so cool. And, getting to see all these different Spider-Men from different universes, Nicolas Cage as a film noir Spider-Man, John Mulaney as Spider-Pig. I mean, come on.
The cast, excellent.
It was cool. I love, Liev Schreiber's intimidating Kingpin. Using Miles Morales as a main character was fantastic. Gave so many different... I know, my cousin Miles loves that character. And, obviously. And,
yeah. Miles. Yeah.
It's just neat to have that kind of representation and that kind of story told. And like you said, it is influencing the MCU's future for Spider-Man. And that's awesome. We're going to get maybe the coolest Spider-Man movie ever in a few years because of that.
Yeah. And it's not, now this one has raised the bar to be the best Spider-Man movie ever. So now you have to beat that and to have fun doing that. Cause that's a 10 out of 10 movie right there. That's a goddamn masterpiece. I'll stand by that. I enjoy every second of it when I'm watching it. Every second. I've seen if it's, I think it had a run on HBO or something. And when I was just kind of, flipping through channels, it just, no matter whatever moment it was at, it just would stop. I'm just going to watch Into the Spider-Verse. This shit is awesome. It's visually stunning and takes me to a place. It does exactly what I want movies to do. It takes me way away. Tells me a cool ass story and takes me way away. It's awesome. Last year, 2019, of course, this year, 2020, it's the Oscars are going to be very interesting. They're going to be, what's the date? Is it April 25th, I believe, is the date? I think that's right. For the films of 2020, obviously.
April 25th, 93rd Academy Awards.
Yeah, April 25th. We'll have an episode coming out that day. Actually, it obviously won't be about those Oscars. We're going to do a really fun movie that day, like an absolute classic. And then the week after that, we'll do something from that Academy Awards. But it's going to be really interesting to see what happens right at the 93rd Academy Awards with all the categories, animated included. It's going to be really interesting to see. Obviously, off the top of my mind, Soul and Onward stand out as movies that'll be nominated for Best Animated Movie. Can't think of much else, but I just haven't seen, everything. But 2019, we have 5 again. We have Missing Link, Claws, I Lost My Body, How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World, and Toy Story 4, Woody's, Woody's last little roundup there.
Toy Story 4 was the film I didn't know I needed to see. I was very apprehensive about that. I thought Toy Story 1, 2, 3, flawless trilogy. We do not need a 4th movie. But we got one. And I thought, shameless cash grab. This is going to sell toys and tank. It was $1 billion success, and it was one of the most beautiful conclusions I've ever seen. For Woody to have an existential crisis and realize, what is my life? Like, beautiful. It was beautiful. It was a great just ending, like a great epilogue to the Toy Story franchise. And
yeah, oh my gosh, yeah.
I'm very glad it took home Best Animated Film.
Yeah, and it also, I thought a lot about, being the age we are now and how Toy Story's just been a part of our entire movie life, how it ranges from the year we were born to last year, almost 2 years ago now for Toy Story 4. I thought a lot about how it was also this, along with, what's it called? Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. This and that for Tom Hanks. It just seems like this really interesting time for his career and a really interesting thing for this character, right? For Woody, for him to kind of have this sort of proper, like you said, the film we didn't know we needed.
Yeah.
And I feel like Tom Hanks, he's always been there. He's always been reliable and a steady, superstar in Hollywood, and just comes through and is awesome. He appears on SNL and is hilarious. Everybody loves the guy. And it felt like, I remember in theaters, I was just thinking like, Tom Hanks, like these guys, aren't at the peak of their powers forever, and Tom Hanks is one of those guys that, and it made me think of Woody and him at the same time. Like Woody just isn't going to be here forever. Eventually he is going to have a send off. Eventually he is going to have all right, now I'm going to go live my life now. And it's not going to be something you're going to see on film. And I've thought that way about, actors, and it made me think that way about Tom Hanks, because that's what happened to Woody. And it made me think about, Tom Hanks, this is a guy we got to appreciate while he's here, while he's in his game. And that's so cool that these voice actors can do that with characters, with animated characters, because that's obviously important. You want it to look amazing, but you need these people who are voicing them to match what's going on. I felt so strongly about that when I was watching Toy Story 4. I'll never forget that. It's such a cool experience.
Hell yeah, man. It's neat. Especially after, Woody spends 3 movies as Andy's toy. He loves Andy. His life is meaningless without Andy. Now that he doesn't have Andy, Woody he doesn't know what to do next. He's not Bonnie's favorite toy. He's just wandering. And I love the idea of these toys realizing that they can have their own lives, that they don't have to be tied to a kid. They can do what they must do for that kid and then have their own life. And that was fantastic. And Woody, of all people, and he deserved it. Everything he's been through, it felt earned. And I love that. It felt deserved. And I was not expecting that.
Fuck yeah, man. Hell yeah. So good. Toy Story 4, you're never going to hear much hate from this side, from either of us. That's one of the few franchises to go for and succeed.
Yes.
We've seen so many just fail before even getting there. And Toy Story just did it flawlessly and just timed out perfectly. Like, they hit us with the 1-2 in 95 and 99, and then they went, to 2010 and 2019 and just let that simmer. and now we got to deal with it for the rest of our lives. So cool. And we have, 4 movies that are an hour and a half each that we can go back to and be in that world. So cool. And obviously one of the biggest, for American animation, and it's Toy Story is one of the biggest contributors. And, we've talked about how Toy Story 95 gets that honorary award for just being awesome.
Yeah.
And of course, if that award or this award that we've been talking about was around, Toy Story would have won it, and Toy Story 2 certainly would have had something to say. Tarzan in 99, it would, they would have something to say for sure. And I love this category. I think it's so cool. And I'm really excited to move the conversation more towards Shrek, because that's the movie we rewatched and we have awards for, and I had a very hard time picking them. But before we do that, let's go to the 74th Academy Awards a little bit, because we've been there before. We did In the Bedroom way back on episode 4, I believe. So we've been here before to talk a bit about that, but this is a totally different area of this ceremony, because Shrek obviously isn't up for the same stuff as In the Bedroom. Yeah. But it does have something other than that best animated win. So we're going to talk a bit about that and see if we think that it deserved that.
Yeah. And this is a category we did talk about on our In the Bedroom episode, because it's in this category, best adapted screenplay. We have Shrek.
This one intertwines.
Yeah, it's cool. Shrek, The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, In the Bedroom, Ghost World, and the winner, A Beautiful Mind. Pretty damn loaded category. Hard to pick a favorite. I don't remember what I went with in episode 4.
I actually think I might have said In the Bedroom. I think. But Ghost World's real strong. I've seen all of these.
I think I maintained loyalty and stayed with Fellowship.
Probably, yeah. I mean, Fellowship, we both said should have won Best Picture. That's for sure. But
how cool is it for Shrek to land a screenplay nod alongside these films? Because Shrek's screenplay is flawless.
It does what very few do. And I'll bring up a movie on the other side, but it does what very few comedies do. It's timeless. It actually still works. It's still funny. And you can still laugh at the jokes and not be like, "Oh, I'm a dick." There's so many movies from this era that they just don't last. They don't look good today. The jokes don't, they don't get so much laughs today. But on the other side, I feel similarly about Royal Tenenbaums. It's still funny, still hilarious, still unique, and Shrek's the same way. It still holds up, and I love that.
My favorite thing about the Shrek franchise as a whole is how well it tackles relatable problems in life we all have. Shrek, the first film, is about, challenging your own insecurities and falling in love. Shrek 2 is about meeting the in-laws. Shrek 3 is about having kids. Shrek 4 is about finding yourself as a father and realizing, where did my life go? It's brilliant. All 4 films tackle that so smart. And while 3 and 4 are not nearly as good, they still do that. And I can't get enough of that. I love the hell out of the Shrek franchise because of how it does that.
Yeah, so good. I love it, man. Yeah, it's a just clean, beautiful, precise hour and a half movie, Shrek. And the screenplay is awesome. so good. But we actually watched all three this past week from the animated feature film category. And again, this is the first year that it happened, and I decided to watch. When Aaron Warner, sorry, goes up to accept the award, I watched that on YouTube a couple days ago. What they decided to do for the show was they put Shrek and Donkey in tuxedos, and had them in the audience, right? Like for not actually in the audience, just for the TV, for us, for the TV viewers. And then there was Jimmy and Goddard, his little dog, and then there was Sully and Mike, and I was like, fucking 2002, man.
That's so cool.
They're sitting next to like Leo and all these stars and stuff. It was really funny. And when Shrek wins, they show him, and Shrek's like goes crazy, and it's funny. Funny little bit. But Monsters Inc. We've talked about Pixar a ton, and here's Monsters Inc. right here early in the game. You have Toy Story, Bug's Life, Toy Story 2, and Monsters Inc. It's the fourth Pixar film ever. So, and it's pretty much flawless. So do you think it has a case for winning?
It definitely does. If Shrek hadn't been so perfect, Monsters, it really is it's a coin toss between these two films. It really is. Monsters Inc., very creative film, very, very funny, timeless. The animation is gorgeous. And any other film has Shrek spot, Monsters Inc. takes it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So tough. I mean, Jimmy Neutron is obviously the odd one out here. I do love it. It holds like a special place in my heart when I was a child. I loved it. But from an animation standpoint, it just doesn't even come close to the other two. And it's not as funny. It's not as clever as the other two, right? The story is just not as good. But I do really enjoy it still. Like I laughed a lot at Sheen, Mate Ultra Lord live. And Carl, nani, 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 all these different little things. I was laughing my ass off when I watched it. So, but I think this is definitely, like you said, it's a toss up between Monsters Inc. and Shrek.
Well, I think the coolest thing about Jimmy Neutron, I found this out in the trivia, is that it was the first animated film ever to be made with over-the-counter software. Like you could go to Best Buy, buy like digital animation rendering software, and you could make Jimmy Neutron. And that's what they did. Which is
crazy.
Pretty incredible that this movie was made basically on some guy's laptop in 2001. Yeah. That's pretty cool. But I agree, the animation's not as flawless as Shrek and Monsters Inc. But then again, this is Nickelodeon going up against Disney and DreamWorks.
Yes. Two titans versus little TV guy. I
mean, this is a fight. Everybody knew Nick wasn't going to win, but it's still cool that it was in the fight.
Yeah. And John Davis, the guy who he ultimately created Jimmy Neutron like in the late 80s. And when he pitched it, it was definitely like, they're like, okay, we're definitely gonna make a TV show. And he was like, I have to make a film. I have to make a Jimmy Neutron film before the TV show comes out. So there's a template, there's something there that, and I love that, it's like, it's Jimmy Neutron, but he stuck by it and was like, I got to get this made. I got to get the movie made first. And that, I respect it. I'm glad it happened because the show's funny and all, but God, the movie still cracks me up. Purple Flirt, baby. I've always wanted to have some.
Same here, man. Same here. I love that show as a kid. Yeah, I remember, I think I saw this at like a birthday party. Like I was at friend's birthday party. We all went to the movies and we saw Jimmy Neutron. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. I remember that.
That's perfect. I saw this with my family. It was one of those kind of like, let's go out and see, a film that's good for everybody. We were 6 when these came out. So, I remember it was probably at Northwoods because we lived over by the Regal Northwoods over here in San Antonio. Again, doesn't quite compete with the other two guys. But we do have to make a decision here. Just for documentation's sake. And I think we're in agreement that Shrek beats Monsters Inc. by a little bit. It's not a lot, but I think what it is And I think if I were 7, I may say differently. But now over time, as you watch them both, Shrek does some stuff that Monsters Inc. just can't do, that Pixar doesn't do. Pixar's funny and they do some stuff that's definitely more leaning towards the adults, but Shrek is kind of filled with that stuff. It's just as much an adult film as it is a children's film. Shrek. That's kind of why it's so timeless, why we speak about it that way. That's why we spoke about the screenplay that way. I think that's why it was nominated, because I think they knew, hey, we got something special here. This isn't just any old, kids movie. And that is why this category should have been in existence a long time ago, because it isn't just about kids movies. It's movies. We've talked about black and white movies. Well, let's talk about animated movies. It's the same fucking thing, right? People don't want to compare the two, live action and animated. Well, let's do that. Let's have that conversation, because they have something to offer as far as the product when it's in front of you and you are watching it for an hour and a half. It doesn't matter what exactly it is. If it affects you strongly, it affects you strongly. And Shrek, Monsters Inc. does that. Don't get me wrong. Monsters Inc. made me kind of sob like a little kid the other day. But Shrek does that while it also made me kind of laugh like a hyena.
Yeah.
And reminded me of a time with my brothers, like quoting this movie with my brothers when I was a kid. It's just a movie I'll probably be watching until I'm not watching movies anymore. That sort of thing. Shrek. Whereas Monsters Inc., I love it. I love it. I love what Pixar has to offer, but I think Shrek is doing something different, is my point. I think it's doing something different than what Pixar is trying to do, and that's okay. But ultimately, what Shrek is doing, I think, is a little bit better.
Yeah, I think so. I think Shrek has a timeless quality to it because you can laugh at it and your parents can laugh at it. And it's cool. And it's a great way to kind of send up fairy tale movies while also celebrating them. And it's just so damn funny. And you look like you said, this award should have been around for a long time. I look back at the 90s and I think, like, how cool would it have been to see Nightmare Before Christmas go up against Batman Mask of the Phantasm at the Oscars? Like, it could have happened.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
99, like, you've got Toy Story 2 versus Tarzan versus South Park, bigger, longer, and uncut.
Yeah.
There's so many possibilities that could have happened. And at least we have it now, but we should have had it for a very long time.
Yeah, and maybe that's a podcast we can do in the future. Some episode we could do on one of our shows. Just do like make up our own, do the category for the 80s and 90s, and just come up with 3 films per year that we think are worthy. And I think that'd be really cool, man, to see it on paper, because there are some years where you look back like, whoa, right away, the one I said earlier, I really don't know what I would choose between Tarzan and Toy Story 2. Jesus.
That sounds like a great potential topic for our new show premiering in a couple days. Actually, this is tomorrow, because that's when this is coming on Sunday. So yeah.
Yes, sneak preview. Sneak preview is definitely debuting tomorrow. Yeah, because we're recording this a little early. That's what happens when you're doing a bunch of shows at once. You gotta love it. Do you want to go ahead and do these awards or what?
Yeah, let's kill it. Let's talk Shrek.
Let's talk some Shrek. I think organically here, as we do these awards, we'll just talk Shrek. Of course, we have the Tarantino Award, which is for best quote or best line. We have the Ennio Morricone Award for his best music moment, or needle drop piece of the soundtrack, whatever you want. The Philip Seymour Hoffman Award for your favorite performance, the person who you think won the film. And then we have the Roger Deakins for the best scene, best moment of the movie. Connor, I'll let you start. I got a funny one, so I'll let you start with your Tarantino.
Before I start, I do want to just let the audiences know that the reason Shrek came into existence was because CEO Jeffrey Katzenberg fucking hated Michael Eisner.
Yes.
And allowed this film to be made and put in a whole bunch of innuendos against Disney just to spite them. And he made it just vague enough so he couldn't get sued.
Well, yeah. And yeah, that's a whole. There's a whole conversation to be had, about DreamWorks and Disney and how it comes about. And look at Ants in a Bug's Life. That kind of tells the story for you. Yeah.
Right on. So my Tarantino, I have two. I'll give my first one. It's a line that I've always loved because of the way it's delivered. And it's Lord Farquaad explaining to his soldiers, to the knights, about the quest and how they're going to go fight the dragon. And he goes, "Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make." And then everyone applauds him. I've always loved that.
John. One of the, oh my God. Oh, I as a child, I kind of needed to know who that was behind that character. I was like, Dad, hey, John Lithgow. And I'm like, well, who?
See, when I was a kid, I was already a huge fan of Third Rock from the Sun. So I knew who John Lithgow was. And I was so excited that he was the bad guy in Shrek.
That's right. You're a big fan because Third Rock from the Sun is right around that time, right?
Yeah, it was ending around 2001. So it was
okay. Yeah,
it was we watched it on TV all the time, every week. It's a big show for us. We have the whole series on DVD now. So he's been a part of my life for a very long time.
I would have seen him in this first, or not seen him, but you know what I mean. And then Orange County would have been the next thing after that. Orange County, a movie that is just so damn special. Orange County is one that I'm like, hey, why can't that be up for best screenplay?
God, I wish.
That's the
fantastic.
comedy Oscars.
There should be.
Oh, man.
I wish all genres were created equally. I really do.
Yeah, right. Not happening.
Go ahead. What's yours?
All right. I got this is at the swamp when Shrek and Donkey are bombarded by a slew of characters, and we're seeing, oh my God, this is incredible. We're seeing a lot of stuff. And Little Pig says, Lord Farquaad, he huffed, he puffed, and he signed an eviction notice.
Great pick.
Absolute genius line, on par with, anything out of any comedy you can pull, from the past. I love that line so much.
There's so many fantastic, just like one-liners from Shrek. It's fantastic. It's endlessly quotable. One of my favorites is when the dwarves throw Snow White on his table, and he's just like, no, dead broad off the table.
Yeah,
and tries to push her.
Yes,
like, pulling the curtain on the big bad wolf, and he's just like, what? Like the delivery. Delivery is so good.
God, I love it so much. Well, like the timing of when they get to the castle and that guy with a giant head on just starts going through. The timing of that is like, this is wonderful. The patience for that scene is so good.
My second line is just a great throwaway line that you don't expect to hear in a kid's movie. And I'm surprised that they allowed this to stay in. It's when Shrek's trying to explain to Donkey that ogres have feelings. And he says the famous line, ogres have layers. And Donkey starts talking about cakes, and somehow he ends up talking about parfaits. And as they're walking out of the cornfield, you just faintly hear Donkey say, parfaits may be the most delicious thing on the whole damn planet. It's such an odd line. I love it to death.
I feel like Eddie Murphy was like, I gotta say this right now, and he probably wanted to say, I fucking love parfaits.
Can you imagine if that just casually dropped an F-bomb in this?
Oh yeah, I saw.
It would have fit, but it would have been like a huge scandal.
Oh yeah, 100%. I saw a thing the other day that was going around on something on the internet. I don't know. I can't pinpoint what exactly it was, but it was saying like, if you could put the F word in any Disney movie, what movie would you choose? And there was a resounding answer for, where's my fucking super suit? Everybody was saying that's what it's got to be, but I immediately went to Toy Story, like, you are a fucking toy. But But yeah, Shrek, there could be a lot of great F-bombs in Shrek that would just fit so well.
Jesus Christ, that's beautiful. I love that.
In the morning, I'm making fucking waffles.
I found this YouTube channel that it's called Unnecessary. What's the word? Shit. When you get bleeped out. Fuck.
Bleeped out?
Like
what
when
do you mean?
Censorship.
Censored.
Oh,
yeah.
God. It's called Unnecessary Censorship. And they take scenes from various films. The animated ones are the funniest. And they will just put in a fake bleep randomly to make dialogue funnier. And they did Shrek. And it is mind-bogglingly funny. I recommend looking that up.
I love it.
It's so funny. They did all the Star Wars movies, all the Pixar movies, just random bleeps to make dialogue sound incredibly uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's perfect. I love shit like that. It's really cool. As much as we love movies, we like poking fun at them too,
Oh, hell yeah.
That's what it's all about. Oh, that's great. The Ennio Morricone. This is a tough one. The Ennio. This is always an award that, I put in the back of my mind, and then I'm like, fuck, this one's really hard, because when you're paying attention, you realize how massive music is for films, right? And in Shrek, the soundtrack is so strong. I love it. But for my Ennio, I went with a piece of the score. It's called Eating Alone by Henry Gregson Williams and John Powell. And it is, of course, when Shrek is eating alone. This is before he finds out that all these fuckers are about to come to his swamp. And man, for whatever reason, I was just kind of shook by that moment when I was rewatching it. The music itself, really nice strings going on in that little bit. It's only like 2 minutes long, so I highly suggest looking up Eating Alone by Henry Gregson Williams and John Powell. It's right there in the first 20 minutes of the film.
That's great. I love the score. I love how it emphasizes Shrek's loneliness. He may not, admit it to himself. He may say he hates people, but all he wants is to be loved, or at least respected or tolerated. I mean, that's all he wants.
Yeah. Tolerated is a good word to use, because he definitely goes off later on. Yeah,
he's a great relatable character. He respects his privacy, but he does want friends. But he does hate most people. I can relate to that way more than I thought.
Oh yeah, as you get older, it's something that you kind of have to confront with yourself. Like Shrek is somebody you can look to. Like he's clearly afraid of commitment, right? We don't know exactly why. He's afraid to really do something other than hang out by himself in his swamp. And there's something deep down there, and that's what's so cool, like you said, about the movies. All of them together. If you put them all together, it's just like this kind of beautiful journey of Shrek as an adult, and it's kind of cool.
It is, for sure. My music moment, for the longest time, it was Joan Jett's Bad Reputation playing as Shrek just wrecked Lord Farquaad's entire squadron, because that's just such a great scene.
Unbelievable scene, yeah.
But then it changed as soon as I heard John Cale's cover of Hallelujah.
Dude, Jesus Christ, right? Tears.
It's too real. Shit gets really real. All of a sudden, it's the perfect melancholy montage of two souls who found each other but are both afraid to admit it. It's great. It's another incredibly relatable scene. Yeah.
And that, again, another thing where two people, like you said, don't want to confront exactly what's going on, and don't want to just sit down and take the time to sit still.
Yeah, it's scary.
Exactly what it's very scary.
Admitting
real,
admitting those feelings is one of the most terrifying things we can do as human beings. I don't know why. I don't think anyone really does, but we all are afraid to admit when we truly do love somebody. It's a fear of rejection, or just a fear of having that being said out loud. And Shrek is the last movie I would have thought would face that, but it does better than most films. It really is. Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah. So good. Ah, man. Great choice. Um, this one, this next one, this is a an award that we've seen a lot of similarity, right? But recently we've seen some stuff that we had Jack Lemmon and you had Shirley MacLaine, right? We had those two. That was I like when that happens. And Rashomon, I remember we had different people chosen for that. But here, I had a hard time. Just it's for me, it's got to be Mike Myers. I think he's carrying this movie with a gravitas that you rarely find in an animated movie. Mike Myers, Wayne, from Wayne's World is voicing this giant, 6'5" ogre, and doing it flawlessly. It fits perfectly. I've never really known. Very rarely do it just clicks right away, but Shrek clicks right away. Sometimes it'll take me a minute to, get used to a character, but Mike Myers fits right away. And I love what Eddie Murphy's doing. I love what John Lithgow's doing. Cameron Diaz is actually very good. But Mikey Mike he takes it home here.
I too went Mike Myers because it's just he's the movie. His performance is the movie, and I think it's the Scottish accent he decided to throw on there, which he ended up costing the studio an additional $5 million because he recorded all of his lines, and then after he was done, felt what, Shrek should be Scottish, and then re-recorded all of his dialogue. $5 million. But you know what? That was the best $5 million DreamWorks ever spent.
I agree. Because that accent, throwing that on there is just, it's perfect.
Have you heard the original little snippet of dialogue that Chris Farley recorded for Shrek?
No, I haven't. I have a hard time kind of swallowing that, thinking about how, if that would have happened, or if he would have even been involved in any animated movie, Chris Farley. I have a hard time thinking about it. Sucks.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Chris Farley was in early development on Shrek when he died.
Yeah.
And Mike Myers replaced him because he was a friend. And I've heard the bit. It's the scene where Shrek and Donkey are talking about the stars. So it's that bit. And it's good. It is odd to hear that voice for Shrek. I think because Mike Myers made it so iconic, it's hard to hear another actor even attempt.
Oh yeah. When you've digested, especially as a child, 4 movies, you've watched them growing up, it's going to be very hard to see anyone else doing this. And Chris Farley's got such a different kind of take on it. So I can't even imagine. So heartbreaking. Really cool for a guy like Mike Myers to, pick up the torch there. Obviously they're buddies from SNL, and I just recently saw the Chippendales bit where, of course, Mike Myers is sitting at the table, he's on the panel, and Chris Farley's dancing. And there's a couple times where Mike Myers, you can see, is looking at Chris and is like, God damn it, and wants to laugh. And anytime Chris Farley comes up, I have no problem.
Yeah.
The guy is a total hero to both of us in the movie world and then in the Saturday Night Live world. Love him. I really wish he could have been a part of the animated world. That would have been really cool.
The last Chris Farley SNL sketch I watched was around Christmas, and it was a Christmas special, Matt Foley motivational Santa. And
yes.
It was just, Matt Foley hired as a mall Santa and is just giving these kids terrible advice. And it's hilarious.
Perfect. I love it so much.
Mm-hmm.
He's a legend.
Hell yeah. So let's talk Deakins.
Roger Deakins.
I'm very interested to see what you have here, because I have a feeling we went in opposite directions on this.
Yeah, I think we probably did. I actually went with a full-on scene here, and it would be from the moment Shrek and Donkey get on the bridge to the moment that they get out of the castle and have saved Fiona. I absolutely adore everything that's happening inside that, whatever it is, 10 minutes. That's my Deacons, the castle scene, the dragon scene, whatever you want to call it. I think it contains some really funny stuff. And it's one of my favorite adventure moments in movies when you have them all running in slow motion and the fire's coming. And I vividly remember as a kid getting so amped when that moment, when that moment comes and you're watching them escape and all this stuff. And the dragon barely gets held back by the collar, and just a breathtaking bit animation wise. And when it comes down to it, animated movies that's what they are. They're animated. And this part blew me away more than any other part. I was astonished by the movement of it and the colors that are happening with the lava. Holy shit, just really cool shit. Again, as far as adventure scenes go, this is like one of my favorites.
It's a fantastic scene. It's really cool the way they subvert audience expectations. They kind of mock fairy tale tropes.
Yep.
Fiona's talking about you're supposed to do it this way, and Shrek's like, yeah, and they all died. You see,
yeah,
he's not your average fairy tale hero, and I think that scene really shows that better than any other scene in the film.
Yeah, well, yeah, you get like Donkey's like, he's just talking about how he's like the stair master, and then he sees the dragon, and Shrek's like, all that stuff, like you said, the tropes that they're kind of copying from Disney. It is so funny, and it's all happening while it actually looks amazing. And they're not just making fun of shit. Yeah,
it's also great character development for Shrek, because in that scene he really does rise to the challenge, and he saves Donkey several times. Like, he's been trying to get rid of this guy the whole movie, but as soon as danger's there, he's like, get out of the way. Like, he's proving to be like an actual good person in this scene. And
yes,
I love that. Great choice.
So cool. Yeah. What about you, man? What's your Deacons?
I went funny because I've always loved this scene because it's out of nowhere and so stupid, but it makes me laugh every single time. And it's the scene where Monsieur Hood and his merry men show up to rescue Fiona.
Yes. So good. That's Castle, right?
Mm-hmm.
The voice actor for that, is that Vincent Castle?
I don't know.
I think it is. I think it is for Monsieur.
I just love the fact that
IMDb.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like Robin Hood.
Vincent Castle. Yeah.
Vincent Castle. This traditional English folk hero is a French asshole. Like, why? Why is he French? I don't know. And I don't care. But just the fact that he shows up and is like, can't you see I'm a little busy here? Like, the whole thing is so damn funny. His little song that Fiona just interrupts and starts kicking all their asses.
I love it. God, I love it so much.
I think that's my favorite scene in the whole damn franchise because of how random and just perfect it is. It could be a short film, that little bit right there.
Oh yeah, there's every scene from Shrek. The really funny bit with the gingerbread man, that could be a short. Yeah, that shit plays on YouTube all the time. It's great stuff.
This film has one of the saddest secret subplots I've ever seen in a film, and you can see it like in the background. So at the scene where Donkey almost gets captured and like the soldiers are rounding up the fairy tale creatures, you see Mama Bear, Papa Bear, and Baby Bear in cages. And Baby Bear's crying about that this cage is too small. Later on in the swamp, when all the fairy tale characters are rounded up, you just see Papa Bear and Baby Bear and they're crying in each other's arms. Later on in Farquaad's bedroom, you can see Mama Bear has been made into a rug. Like, I never noticed that until I saw like an article on it, and now it's the saddest shit I've ever seen in one of these movies.
Yeah. Fucking gnarly. Jesus.
Yeah. And it's only there if you're paying attention. So sad. Oh, I had to get that out.
Yeah, no, truly. Yeah, I totally understand. Another reason this movie just kind of, is different. It's doing different stuff than your typical children's animated flick.
Oh yeah, big time. this was a game changer. Things started getting a little bit darker in the animation world, I think, after Shrek. I think Shrek showed people that you can cater to both kids and adults if you're smart about it.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah, do it in a smart, clever, funny way, and you'll get a best adapted screenplay award. Yeah.
Exactly. And I've never read the book this is based on. It's like a kid's book. I saw it at my school library once, and it's only like 10 pages long. It's one of those picture books. They just bought the name so they could make this.
Yeah, that's it. That's all they wanted. Well, it makes sense, and I'm glad this movie exists. And I'm glad it is what it is. I'm glad it's as popular as it is. I think it kind of, deserves is a tough word, but I think, it should be critically acclaimed. It's an awesome, awesome flick. And I'm glad we got to, really talk about it here. I love the things you have to say about this movie, man.
Same here, man. I love your take on this whole thing. It's cool to see films like this, traditionally kids movies get the same treatment we gave The Apartment and Rashomon. Like, we care about these films on par with those films. Like, there's no, once you hit this age, no watching kids movies anymore. That shit does not exist. Yeah. There's no kids table here. All these films matter. And yeah, I love getting to celebrate these.
For sure. And, next week we're doing a big time, heavy hitter.
Yeah. What's that going to be?
That's going to be 1974's Chinatown. 11 nominations at the 47th Academy Awards. That's the same amount as Godfather Part 2. Of course, they had a different story. Godfather Part 2 went on to have a bunch of wins, including Best Picture, and Chinatown only got one win. We're gonna see what we think about that. We're gonna watch Chinatown. We're gonna do some digging into 1974. We're gonna come back and give that movie awards. Talk a little Polanski. Talk a little Faye Dunaway. Talk a little Jack Nicholson. It's gonna be loads of fun. So come on back next week for next Oscar Sunday, episode 32.
I think this is gonna be our first return to Polanski since we did that episode on Filmgazm.
It's time.
It is time. Wow. And for those of you feeling a little adventurous, tomorrow we are launching our brand new podcast, The Sneak Preview, which is going to be covering the current movie release schedule as best we can. Talking about current release films, anything coming out 2021 is fair game, regardless of the week it comes out. We're going to be doing top 10s and recasts and all sorts of cool shit to just kind of talk about whatever we want. It's going to be like even more fun place to embrace what's new in film. And we're going to be starting this out by celebrating the films we saw this past year, doing the top 10 films of 2020.
Hell yes. I cannot wait for that, man. It's going to be so much fun because I think, give people a taste for the kind of stuff we're going to do. Free flowing conversation, just loving on when a new movie comes out that we've got some shit to say about.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it. We'll have some fun, and hopefully we can give people a place to come with their current movie journey. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, there's going to be issues with the theater. We're not going to be able to catch everything until, things are relatively back to normal. We're not, delusional. We know what's going on out there, but we're going to do our best. We're going to talk a lot of streaming films. We're going to do whatever we can get a hold of. So no promises. We're taking it week by week. And we're just here to have fun.
Yeah.
I'll explain more about the nature of the show on tomorrow's episode. So check that out. It'll be every Monday morning from here on out.
Oh man, I cannot wait. Sneak preview. It's gonna be fun.
And then on Filmgazm this week, we're tackling a very cool favorite of mine, 1999's The Mummy. Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz, John Hannah, and Arnold Vosloo. Fantastic movie, one of my all-time favorites. Arguably the best version of this story. So stay tuned for that.
Hell yes.
Awesome. Well, I guess anything else you want to add about Shrek?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't want to end, man, because Shrek is so awesome, just like I don't want the movie to end when it does, but at some point we have to, so that'll do, Connor. That'll do.
See you all next Sunday.